All right, friends, we are back. This is the final show of 2021 of Location Weekly, your favorite podcast. This is episode number 549, and we are recording live on the 21st of December. And I say the final show because our next show, which is still in December, is not a normal show. That's our prediction show where we talk about what we think is going to happen in the new year. So it's a little bit different format. Whereas today is the regular format for four great stories. But before we jump into that, Aubriana, how are you doing?
I'm good. I am today's not only like the final podcast, but it's my final-ish day of official paid work for the year. And I am very grateful for some upcoming downtime. But I say paid work specifically because I am now employed as Santa's helper. So lots of cooking and wrapping and trying to make things magical. So that's what I will be transitioning into. But I'm good. I can't complain. Our family is staying healthy so far, and very grateful for that. And just very hopeful that this is a very, just quick tick in spike in COVID cases. Just kind of like normal flu season. Going to chalk it up to that, like that, and that we're going to be back into the normal, progression we were seeing as soon as these holidays are over and it starts to warm up a little bit. But how are you?
I'm all right. I think I've got a cold, so yeah, I'm hoping it's just a cold. So we'll go with that. So if I'm sneezing and coughing and whatever, trying to work through that today and get through this. So yeah, but I'm okay. So we have a good show for you, four stories as usual, and a bunch of brands doing some interesting things. So I'll let Abriana kick us off.
Yeah, let's start with something in hospitality with Hyatt. Hyatt is rolling out an Apple Wallet room key, and they are the first hotel chain to do this and have that integrated into Apple Wallet. So this is currently live at 6 hotels right now. And so whenever you are, using the World of Hyatt app, the members can actually just add their room key to the wallet after they complete their reservation and once it's time for check-in. And so, obviously this is using that NFC technology. It's working from the phone and it can also work from the Apple Watch. And also the privacy aspect of this is that Apple is never given or, is never storing anything on their Apple servers. So that's not shared, externally. So it's definitely a privacy centric approach to this as well. And so I like this a lot because typically you always have your phone with you. It's a lot easier to keep that with you than a room key, those little plastic keys, and try to, keep those separated from your credit cards, or when you have them on your phones anyways, you're like trying not to deactivate them. You know how that goes. So anyways, I think that this is like a really nice a nice addition, but they've also been adding in some other technology. You can actually use the Bluetooth technology at more than 600 hotels currently. That allows you to use the room key via the World of Hyatt app already. So now this is just like an addition and an extension of that. They also have some really good chat features. So depending on how you want to communicate with the hotel staff, you can use like SMS, you can use WhatsApp. They've also done some collaborations with the food and goods delivery GoPuff. So they have all of those like micro fulfillment centers that you can enjoy as as a guest, which is really nice because it's fast and it's free. Free delivery service. And some other ones they mentioned were like the in-room Chromecast. You compare all of your streaming services that you have right there, and this is just a natural extension of this. But yeah, I think this is great. It's a great use case, and it's probably an easy thing to incorporate. And I don't know why it's taken so long for this to be a thing, but we use our Apple Wallet for our plane tickets and our concert tickets, and why not for a room key? So what do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's great. I think it makes a ton of sense. Obviously, most of the hotel chains, the bigger ones, have apps and have loyalty programs, and they've been supporting Bluetooth. Many have had sort of room key access in the app itself, but to push that, into integrating with your Apple Watch or your Apple Wallet, I think makes more sense, right? And I think I really like the simplicity of it. I like the privacy aspects that you talked about in terms of they're not storing any of the data there, and I like that they're sort of also investing in all of these other components, whether it's the chat pieces or ordering or things like that, from your room, sort of all in an all-encompassing framework. It was interesting. I was at a Carl's Jr. Burger place recently, and they had QR codes on the tables for what I thought was the menu. And so I scanned it because you go to restaurants, they have these QR menus everywhere, and I was a bit surprised because it was the menu, but it took me directly to WhatsApp, and the menu was in WhatsApp, and you could actually order and pay directly through WhatsApp. And I thought that was really interesting, right? And you talked about how they've got the chat and the other pieces here, but I think sort of enabling a mobile commerce component on top of this in terms of whether that's ordering from room service or other pieces, which it looks like they're sort of trying to build this sort of all-encompassing loyalty, tied together with commerce, tied together with room key access and all of that makes a lot of sense. So I like it. I think it's really good.
Yes.
All right, moving over to baseball now. Our second story: the New York Mets at Citi Field, and maybe Aubriana will get out there in the new season. I don't know. You never know. Maybe when they're playing your Braves, something like that.
I think I
Um,
can.
yeah. So they're going to be testing out facial recognition to verify the identities of people coming in, to watch a game. So this is sort of to replace paper ticketing or mobile tickets on smartphones. And so you would register in advance, obviously store your facial profile with them. To me, this makes sense, more for sort of regular seasons ticket holders and those kinds of things. It's completely optional, but it is about sort of speeding up entry, right? And so they have a dedicated, sort of fast lane, if you will, for this type of facial recognition entry. The staff are also using the platform to access, sort of back areas of the stadium, for things that they need to have access to, clubhouse or front office facilities or things like that. Just allowing them easier access into different rooms and different facilities. So I think this is interesting. I think it makes sense for staff and regulars. It makes sense as a trial for seasons ticket holders or regular fans who are coming in. I don't see this as something for the general public. I just bought a ticket, I'm going to go in and do that. But I think a couple of things, right? Obviously it has the potential to cut down on fraud or scalpers and things like that to some extent. It does give them a sense of the age-old problem in sports is that you're selling tickets, but you don't actually know whose butt ends up in the seat. So tying those things back together, can be interesting, and maybe there's a loyalty piece that can be layered on top of this. But I like it as sort of a test, and especially for sort of regular season ticket type of fans. And if it's about speeding up entry, and I don't have to line up and check my vaccine and do this and do that, and all the hassle that we have today, then that might be better. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you. Most of your sentiments around that. I think this would definitely be a good thing for staff, for premier access to different places, and perhaps for players or players' families, things like that. But I don't know that this is necessarily something again for the general public. I can see this type of ticketing applying very well when you're talking about flying, right? Like on airlines, things of that nature. That makes a lot of sense to me. But I think of going to the baseball stadium, and I don't think that I have an issue using a digital ticket or a paper ticket. And if I'm there with my kids, the idea of having to like have facial recognition for them as well is one, it's concerning. And two, it's like, no, I can just imagine like things are getting switched up. That's just not really ideal. So, I think it's interesting that they are testing it. I do like the idea of speeding things up, but I'm not sure that at a baseball game, that really makes sense. And there should be a better value proposition if you really want to know whose butt ends up in that seat, in my opinion. So
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
all right, now we've got a pretty small town kind of story here. This is a company called Allegiance Retail Services LLC. They're based out of New Jersey. And if you don't know them, because I didn't know them either, they are providing independent grocers with marketing, advertising, tech support, merchandising support, and they also have a full line of private label products. And so they have just finished wrapping up a 3-month pilot program. It's new, these new checkout terminals, they are calling them NTRs. From AppCard, and they're hoping to make shopping easier, more convenient, more relevant. So these were installed in 3 Foodtown Supermarkets up here in New York and New Jersey, and they're hoping to have further locations come up. But what this was that there were QR codes posted throughout the store for shoppers to see specials. They could opt in for SMS messaging and be notified of specials in the future. They could download digital receipts and coupons, and that they could use for their next shopping trip, and some other things. And so this is one element of, they are calling their Allegiance's Go Digital and Save program. And at first I'm kind of underwhelmed with this, honestly, but what I do kind of like about this is I think about when I go shop at Target, right? And I am constantly using the Target app. So I scan everything that I buy to see if there's any additional coupons that I can add, and it will save those offers right there. And it also gives me like a cashback rewards type of a program. So I can apply those earnings right there. And, it can also recommend certain things based on my previous purchases. And my receipts are right there. So I really like all of those things, not having to keep up with that. And so to me, then when I started thinking about how I use that in Target, and I use it all the time, and, somewhere that I'm at least, a couple times a month in a Target, and then how often do we actually grocery shop, and the fact that these independent grocers are not going to have the capability to build something like that on their own. So I like this because I think it could be a great platform that could be used. If it could be used across multiple stores within the program, I think that would be amazing as well. I didn't get that level of detail from the website or the press release here, but I think that in terms of how it could help with the consumer experience in that aspect, it could be beneficial. So it's nice to see, a smaller to medium-sized technology provider partnering with these smaller to medium-sized, grocers, and offering some level of capability and smart shopping for their, their clientele and their loyal shoppers. So overall, I'm giving this a thumbs up after I maybe shot it down at first, but what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with you. I think that for smaller independent grocers and retailers, being able to have access to the types of technology, that a Target or a Walmart or, whatever have, is sometimes out of reach, right? So I think if you can package things up in a way that they're doing here with the AppCard platform, these NTRs, it is about creating a better customer experience, right? And what they're trying to do is use data and mine the data and use AI to process, and inform, what that data can tell us as to, who these customers are and how often they're there, and make the right recommendations on products or specials or deals or whatever. And, obviously they have the opt-in SMS and pieces that you've talked about, and I do like, that they've got, the QR codes throughout the store, and there's recipe recommendations and things like that. These are all things that are not new. We've talked about these things before, but we tend to talk about them at Kroger and Target and Walmart and big retailers, right? And so I think what I'm seeing here is they've sort of taken the best of breed of these solutions and kind of packaged them up and said, hey, let's go down market and let's make this accessible and affordable, for the smaller independent grocer. So I quite like it. I think it kind of levels the playing field a little bit, and helps sort of build that bridge between, the local, grocer and, their customers, and sort of, really almost use data to sort of go back in time, right, to when we really just knew our customers, right, as a merchant, and we knew who they were, we knew where they lived, we knew how many kids they have, and all of that, and we were able to kind of customize in person, what we knew that they might need. And in this day and age, that basically we're using the tech to do that, and the data and the AI to do that for us, right? But it allows us to it allows these merchants to sort of create that, that neighborhood feel of connection, and I know my customer, and I think that's really good.
There you go.
So, all right, on to our final story. We'll jump across the pond now to our friends over at Heineken. And they're moving into the Christmas spirit here. And so I think we've talked on the show a fair bit, and I think it's well understood this year with COVID and all that's going on that the supply chain has been impacted greatly on a number of different products and toys and services, and people are just having a tough time. Merchants are having a tough time getting inventory of certain things. And obviously on the customer side, just getting the thing that you want and getting it on time for Christmas has been a challenge for many, just because supply chain is sort of bottlenecked up. And so that's a problem. And so Heineken has decided that they can sort of help alleviate some of these feelings and these issues associated with that. They've created something called the Heineken IOU. And so they ran this December 10th to 12th, and then again just last week on the 17th to 19th. And basically you could go to the HeinekenIOU.com website and you could sign up there. And so if you've ordered, a gift for a loved one for Christmas, and, the tracking says it's not going to arrive on time, basically you can jump onto Heineken IOU, sign up there, and basically you get a gift card and like this specially crafted Heineken Christmas box. And then you can basically deliver a very nice box of 6 bottles of Heineken as an IOU while they're waiting for your gift to arrive. So I think it's kind of smart. It's kind of cheeky. It looks really nice. And so you're not showing up empty-handed without a gift. You're bringing an IOU, of 6 bottles of Heineken in a nice Christmas box, and it's kind of fun. So, and you still so basically you buy the gift card, you just go grab your 6 bottles. The box is all sort of put together for you, and it's got labeling on it, Heineken IOU, and all of that. I'll try and throw it into the video here as well, just a couple shots, but kind of fun, I think. I find Heineken's always, trying to find a way to insert themselves into the holidays, right? And good on them for coming up and being creative. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with that last statement you made. I do feel like Heineken is always trying to create, interesting and memorable experiences around the way that you purchase, the way that you drink, where you drink, where you go. And I think that I will applaud those efforts. I think it's good. Yeah. And I agree. I think it's cheeky. I think it's cute. It's something that could be nice, just to pass along to somebody that does enjoy Heineken, and you cannot get that to them right away. So I like how they're trying to solve a problem with something creative, and that's what I think is probably like the most exciting part of this story, is taking something that could have just been maybe more detrimental to the brand and making it more of a memorable experience, and potentially creating more demand in the future. So
there you go. Well, that's it. That's our show for this week. You've been listening, as I said, to episode number 549. Some good stuff going on with some brands there. If we don't see you beforehand, have a great Christmas and holiday season. And we'll be back, we said, next week with our predictions for 2022. And have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Bye.